The following episode of the Kingdom of Isolation contains footage from the film being discussed. The footage is used solely for the purposes of education, commentary, and criticism under fair use. Please support the animators by watching this film on Disney Plus or home media where available. This episode also contains spoilers throughout.
Hello, my fellow Disney fans, and welcome to the Kingdom of Isolation, where in times of trouble, why not celebrate the magic of Disney? And today, we're heading to college, and we are going to be looking at an extremely goofy movie released on Leap Day in the year 2000. Now, to think that the Tigger movie released like literally just 2 weeks before this one. Now, in tracing the comedic and heartfelt journey of Goofy and his son Max, it's impossible not to draw a direct line from their early adventures in a Goofy movie to the events that unfold here. The original film introduced audiences to the awkward yet loving dynamic between father and son as they embarked on a cross-country road trip, a journey that tested their patience, deepened their bond, and reminded viewers of the complexities and joys of family ties. That first story set an emotional foundation for everything that follows. Max is ready for now, as an extremely goofy movie begins. Max is ready for college, eager to assert his independence and leave behind the shadow of his well-intentioned but often embarrassing dad. He's joined once again by his friends PJ and Bobby as he dives into campus life, aspiring to forge his own identity and make his mark in the high-octane world of the college X Games. Brought to you by ESPN. Yet echoes of their past trip together linger, shaping Max's expectations and Goofy's hopes for the future. Goofy, meanwhile, faces a classic case of empty nest syndrome, missing the closeness that they shared on the open road. When an unfortunate job loss sent him back to university to finish his degree, he lands exactly where Max is, reigniting their comic interplay and challenging both to redefine their relationship. This twist not only brings father and son together again, but also serves as a poignant callback to their earlier journey, highlighting how far they've come and how much they still have to learn about each other. Throughout the film, both Goofy and Max confront new obstacles. Max with the pressures of campus life and fierce rivalry from the Gamma fraternity, and Goofy as he adapts to college and unexpectedly finding romance with librarian Sylvia Marpole. The underlying theme remains familiar. A father and son learning to let go and trust each other, just as they did on their cross-country trip. In its most thrilling moments, especially during the X Games competition, the film mirrors the emotional highs and lows of their first adventure, culminating in the finale where teamwork, love, and understanding prevail. From its energetic animation and catchy soundtrack, to its universal themes of growth and acceptance, and enduring bonds of family, an extremely goofy movie stands as both a continuation and a celebration of the heartfelt legacy established in a Goofy movie, ensuring that fans old and new will find much to enjoy and reflect upon. Now, let's head to college. On a serious note, though, what is with every film I've covered recently aligning with something? Wow! Wow! Yeah! We gotta get one in somewhere, especially with that classic Goofy cartoon opening card. Max and his friends just don't waste any time showing us what they've been up to over the summer. Max skateboarding, PJ on a BMX bike, and Bobby on roller skates. Jason Marsden, Rob Paulsen, and Pauly Shore are back reprising their roles, and Pauly actually gets credit this time around, as does Rob Paulsen, I believe. Bill Farmer is also back as Goofy, but no Roxanne. Why would that be? Oof. Crazy thing is, we don't find out at all because there's no mention of Roxanne at all. Jenna Von Oy is the only returning cast member from a Goofy movie not to reprise her original role, as Roxanne and Stacy do not appear in this movie, and there's no mention of them. Absolutely no mention whatsoever. Bill Farmer, Jim Marston, Jim Cummings, Rob Paulson, and Pauly Shore each reprise their roles as Goofy, Max, Pete, PJ, and Bobby, and neither Kelly Marston nor her character Roxanne appear at all. Again, why? We don't get told why. Music-wise, Steve Bartek composes the score here, and it's okay for the most part. Goofy and Pete, the latter voiced by...
Guess who? Guess who? It's him again!
Your favorite Disney legend and mine, Jim Cummings! Now, right, hang on. Where was I? Oh, yes, Goofy and Pete, yes. They're preparing a party to celebrate the boys heading to college.
And we have a surefire way to shoot straight to the top of the freshman heap. The College X Games!
Once again, brought to you by ESPN. What? Disney own ESPN? What are you going to do about it? Goofy starts to feel sentimental about Max heading to college, while Pete, on the other hand, not so much.
And it's my last night of babysitting, and I'm a free man. Oh, yeah! Free, 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 I tell you!
Never change, Pete. Never change. Max is confident he'll perform well at the College X Games, while Goofy decides to give the trio the horseshoe lecture. Here we go. Oh, nicely done, though. There are some elements that do mirror what happens in the first movie. Right now, my oldest niece just started her first year of primary school, and my goddaughter just started nursery. I wasn't ready for them to be growing up so fast! I wasn't ready! Okay, overdramatic this bit. Goofy insists on Max bringing his stuffed bear to college, to no success. Goofy then hands him a typewriting machine or something to that effect. No parent is ever ready for that big moment. My youngest niece, on her first day of primary school, she just ran in, so eager to get started. The boys head off to college after giving us a Beauty and the Beast Easter egg in the form of Mrs. Potts' breakfast, leaving Goofy feeling that emptiness syndrome. The music here is pretty haunting and, dare I say, heartbreaking. The boys make it to college, through a cornfield, and start fawning over
Bradley Uppercrust III!
voiced by Johnny Bravo himself, Jeff Bennett. Johnny would never get made today. Bradley is, as PJ puts it, the College X Games king. He's part of the Gamma Moo Moo fraternity that the boys are trying to get into. Goofy heads into work and pulls at our heartstrings with photos of baby Max, making reference to Goof Troop. Yeah! Ooh, that was much better that time around. Not going back to how horrific that sounded in the Goofy movie episode. Top right of the screens, by the way. This ends up affecting him at work, resulting in him being fired. How many more do you think we're going to get here? I'm not going to keep count. Bradley spots the boys as potential Gamma material, so goes to approach them at the bean scene. One of Uppercrust's thugs is a shaved down version of Sasquatch from a Goofy movie. The Bigfoot that was dancing to Staying Alive by the Bee Gees for some inexplicable reason, which I thought was actually quite funny. Now, all of the characters on skateboards ride a regular footed dance rather than a goofy footed one. And there's one for the Tony Hawk's fans out there. Do you think he was asked to cameo in the film in some capacity? Tank is one of Bradley's Gamma brothers and is voiced by Brad Garrett, who's got 3 M's to his name for Everybody Loves Raymond. Voices Eeyore in the Christopher Robin film from 2018 starring Ewan McGregor. One of the thugs in Tangled, Gusto in Ratatouille, and Lord Grigon, in Elio, which I will cover later this year when it comes to Disney+.
Well, I'm sorry, but PJ, Bobby, and I are in this together. It's all of us, or none of me.
Max. You don't want to be weighed down by those clowns, do you?
That's one way to turn down the offer of being first draft pick. Fair play to him for sticking by his friends. But this is drama we've seen before. Acting nice to try and get into their good books, only to become jerks throughout afterwards when they turn the offer down.
Let's all just take a trip down the road of forgiveness and compassion.
Ooh, passion.
She said compassion, idiot! Also, the insults from your brothers are a bit cliche and predictable. Copy and paste drawstring doll style responses. That being said, I like Beret Girl already. Putting Bradley in his place. Now, hang on, what's her name again? She doesn't have one? Oh well. She is voiced by Vicky Lewis, last seen as Deb and Flo in Finding Dory. A wager is made between Brad and Max, where the loser becomes Towel Boy.
Meanwhile, thousands of miles away.
Goofy's at the unemployment office, only to be told he has no college degree. 3 guesses what happens next.
Hi, everybody!
Well, yeah, this is gonna end well, isn't it?
He's my son!
Nice job embarrassing him in front of the entire class! You do know he's never going to forgive you for that now, right? You do realize that. The poem the professor is reciting to the class before Goofy barges in is Panthea by Oscar Wilde, published in 1881. Max tries to establish ground rules, but Goofy being Goofy hasn't learned anything from the first film by the looks of it. Ever heard of personal space?
Cut the old man some slack. He has to be here. He was fired and he can't find a good job without a degree.
Fired? Whoa. You mean like his pink slip was showing?
Don't push it, man.
Oh boy. Juvenile humor like this is why the direct-to-video sequels get a bad rep. You know that thing I said earlier? You know that thing I said a moment ago about ground rules and personal space? Yeah, Goofy immediately ignores them and wakes the boys up at 6 a.m. Goofy just can't stop acting childish around Max, embarrassing him at every opportunity. Case in point, sitting next to him in class. Max takes Goofy to get his library card, only for Goofy to start crushing on the librarian. Sylvia Marpole, voiced by Bebe Neuwirth. Best known for heading to the bar where everybody knows your name. First thing Goofy notices is the mood ring, and they both geek out over celebrity stuff. And this is why Max doesn't want to be around you, Goofy, because you keep making an embarrassment of yourself. Speaking of Max, he's with the boys trying to practice for the X Games. Goofy somehow lands a date with Sylvia for Saturday night. I mean, fair play to him. Which is gonna go south in one of 2 ways. Just to 1-2 sucker punch Max. Thanks to typical Goofy chaos, Goofy gets picked for Bradley's team for the X Games!
Gamma Brother Goofy, let me present you with your Gamma Moo Moo pledge pin. Gammas, exit!
And this part of the fraternity! Oh, great. Just great. At the club, Goofy pays the DJ to play something I'm not going to play because copyright. Now, it's all fine and dandy when I'm able to play the film scores, or in this case, use the music from Kingdom Hearts. But I'm not even going to try and play the licensed soundtrack. When Goofy is in a trance after getting a date with librarian Sylvia Marpole, he stumbles into a crowd of people watching Max skate. In the crowd is a student wearing Goofy's traditional clothing. But that reaction pretty much sums up Goofy and Sylvia at the club. No, look, I'll admit, as much as I have slated Goofy throughout the film so far, I have to admit, this is a great scene emulating the iconic Saturday Night Fever. Hey, look at this! Two Goofy movies in a row where we get Saturday Night Fever references! Goofy and Sylvia have an adorable date, and their mood rings light up the same color. She loves the flowers he gets her the next day, and now it's time for the start of the X Games. Wait, hang on, what? We've still got around, 40 minutes to go? We've still got around 40 minutes left. And we're already at the X Games? How are they going to make it last 40? How are they going to make this last 40 minutes? Oh, right. Well, yes, of course. This is just the qualifiers.
Hey, ho, and what do you know? Welcome to the 6th Annual College X Games.
Wait, hang on. This is only the 6th Annual Games? You mean to tell me that this has been going since the first Goofy movie came out? 1995, 1996, 1997, 1998, 1999. Yeah. Huh. Tangent here. This part might sound irrelevant, but here goes nothing. The late Patty Edwards played an office receptionist in this film. And she's been in The Kingdom of Isolation previously as Flotsam and Jetsam in Little Mermaid, as well as Atropos, who's one of the Fates in Hercules. Reason for bringing her name up is that this was her final film role before passing away in 1999. The film did release after she had passed. She was also a secretary in the often overlooked Halloween 3 season of The Witch, The Night No One Comes Home. I've really got to get a Halloween costume at some point. Now, first contest involves the street competition.
Welcome, one and all. Today,
you can.
Now that's just rude. Bradley insists on letting Goofy do the qualifying round against Max. Yeah, this isn't going to end well. And in typical sports film cliche fashion, the antagonists always have to cheat. Case in point, rocket power on the skateboard. And that's the equivalent of turning the gravity off in the Tony Hawk's games.
that's right, Chuck. Looks like the new kid in town is no match for the unbeatable Gammas and their newest member, Goofy.
Now, this, honestly, this isn't running gag territory anymore. This is just disrespectful and insult to one of your colleagues. Seriously, why? 10s across the board, except for Germany. Go on, have a guess at what they put. Of course it was a 9. That's just bottom of the barrel, not funny. Antagonist sports sheet number 2, blinding Max with a reflector. The Team 99 just make it to the semis. And honestly, that voice on commentary just sounds so annoying. The crowd are worshipping Goofy as well, leaving Max
absolutely livid.
Don't you get it? I'm trying to get away from you. I'm not a little kid anymore. Now just leave me alone and get your own life.
Goofy's heartbroken at this, affecting his first midterm exam, and missing a date with Sylvia. Told you this would backfire. Okay, it might not have been the first date that went wrong, but yeah, it was good. Like I say, missing someone's date was gonna come up at some point. Now, how does he fail the exam again? A daydream sequence about Max, only for it to end as a nightmare sequence. Of all the places to screw Goofy's head back into place, Pete is the last person I would have expected to do so.
That's it. I lost my focus. I gotta get back there and straighten things out.
That being said, thanks for the help, Pete. But just this one time. Back on campus, Max is convinced to stay thanks to a team talk from Bobby, impressing Miss Beret. I'm just calling her that going forward. Goofy apologizes to Sylvia. She forgives him and helps him get back on track. Never change, Goofy. He combines his studying with a sports training montage, getting straight A's as a result. The Gammas kick Goofy out, who overhears their plan to cheat and goes to warn Max, who's still
absolutely livid
at Goofy. Max doesn't listen. Semi-finals time. At this point in the film, a member of the crowd watching the X Games can be seen holding a sign that reads 4351700. This is a reference to the copyright code assigned to Goofy 70s standard without hat with afro wig. The crowd are now
absolutely livid.
Alright, I get it!
That Goofy isn't part of the Gammas. Wait, who just let Plankton in? Team Gamma and Team Max make it to the final, the X Games triathlon. But before that, one last thing is supervising animators. I never mentioned them in the Tigger movie because there weren't any. So here we go. Bob Baxter and Steve Trenberth for Max, PJ, and Bobby, Andrew Collins for Goofy and Sylvia, and Kevin Peaty for Bradley, the Gammas, and Miss Beret. Bradley activates every cheat in the book, so I'll just speed run through. Yeah, I'm just going to speed run through them all. Kirby!
He comes right back at ya! He comes right back at ya!
Thanks! Operation Grandma, Operation Hay Bale, loosening one of the bike nuts, leading to...
Oh, look out! Bobby seems to have sailed off the car.
The Gammas, including Brad, are now officially one-dimensional characters. Very convenient, though, that there's 2 skateboards instead of 3 for each team. Unless they're taking the 2 DNFs into account.
They're moving off the ramp
And onto the zipper.
Seriously, can someone fire this guy, please? The final cheat code is rocket power on Max's skateboard, taking out the X Games structure, which has a very interesting story behind that particular scene. Following the September 11 attacks in 2001, the scene in which Goofy rescues Max and Tank from under the burning X logo structure was removed from television broadcasts of the film. The scene remains in all other versions of the movie, including on Disney+. But the broadcast version just skips the scene entirely to show them skating out of the wreckage. Now, is there any particular reason why they cut that scene out, aside from the obvious? Can they go into a bit more detail? They won't? Unacceptable.
Unacceptable!
Goofy and Max find Tank in the wreckage, get him out, and Max beats Brad to the finish, winning the X Games title. Tank gives Brad some much-deserved comeuppance, as well as the X Games host, Chuck. Make sure that guy is fired for assaulting and abusing Kent. Goofy manages to graduate, and Max gives him the X Games trophy, giving us a very heartfelt moment.
I might not be your little boy anymore, but I'll always be your son.
Goofy then gives us a fake out, claiming he got a job on campus to be closer to Max, only to drive off into the sunset with Sylvia by his side.
He is so goofy.
He certainly is, and that's why we love him. Well, personally, not as memorable as the first film, but it has its moments. But what will the scores say? The story, a rating of 7 out of 10 for the story suggests while the film may not reach the narrative brilliance or emotional resonance of the original, it still offers a thoroughly enjoyable and engaging experience. The plot moves at a brisk pace, providing plenty of entertaining set pieces and memorable moments, whether it's the humorous antics during the X Games triathlon or the heartfelt exchanges between Goofy and Max. The story succeeds in delivering satisfying character arcs, showcasing growth, challenges, and the unbreakable bond between father and son. However, there are aspects that prevent it from being truly outstanding. Certain characters become one-dimensional, some developments feel a bit too convenient, and the emotional stakes might not cut as deep as in the predecessor. Even so, the film never loses its charm and remains fun, energetic, and filled with warmth. Overall, a 7 indicates that the story is above average, solid in its execution, capable of delivering both laughs and touching moments, and certainly worth a watch even if it doesn't quite reach the heights of the first installment. A score of 6 out of 10 for the characters reflects both strengths and weaknesses in how the film handles its cast. While Goofy and Max remain endearing and their evolving relationship serves as the emotional backbone of the movie, many supporting characters, like the Gammas or even Tank, lack sufficient depth or growth. Their roles often feel reduced to caricatures, serving the plot rather than existing as fully realized individuals with distinct motivations or arcs. Brad, for instance, becomes little more than the archetypal antagonist, and the nuances of his rivalry with Max are left largely unexplored. Meanwhile, Tank's moments of redemption are brief, and the rest of the ensemble just fades into the background, rarely given scenes to truly shine. Despite these shortcomings, the film's core duo still brings enough genuine warmth and humor to keep audiences invested. This balance of heartfelt leads against a backdrop of somewhat flat-sided characters justifies a rating that's slightly above average, but still leaves room for improvement. A rating of 7 out of 10 for the visuals highlights the film's vibrant and energetic animation style, which captures the excitement of the X Games setting and the playful personalities of the characters. The action sequences are fluid and dynamic, with bold color palettes that make each scene pop. Backgrounds are thoughtfully detailed, immersing viewers in campus life and the adrenaline-fueled competitions. It doesn't always push creative boundaries or showcase the visuals' inventiveness found in top-tier animated features. Some character designs can feel a bit familiar, relying on tried-and-true formulas rather than taking artistic risks. Still, the overall look of the film is cheerful, appealing, and perfectly suited to the tone of the story. A visual experience that enhances the movie's fun, even if it doesn't quite ascend to the heights of animation greatness. A score of 5.5 for the soundtrack signals a mixed reception. There are moments where the music supports the energy and emotions of the film, but overall it doesn't leave a lasting impression. The songs are serviceable and occasionally catchy, helping to punctuate key scenes and maintain the upbeat tempo, especially during the high-octane sports sequences. However, compared to the memorable tunes and infectious rhythms of the original, the soundtrack this time feels somewhat generic, lacking those standout numbers, and I'll see myself out, that linger in your mind long after the credits roll. Some tracks come across as filler, doing little more than filling space rather than elevating the narrative or deepening emotional impact. The instrumental score, while competent, often takes a back seat and rarely asserts itself as a driving force in the film's atmosphere. For fans seeking iconic musical moments or sing-along favorites, this entry might disappoint. Yet, the music is never truly bad. It simply doesn't rise above mediocrity. As a whole, a 5.5 reflects a soundtrack that gets the job done, but doesn't strive for or reach the heights of its predecessor's musical legacy. Speaking of which, 63% on Rotten Tomatoes, and consumers could receive a $4 mail-in rebate after purchasing the video, and 3 Parquet products, while select Parquet packages contained an extremely goofy movie trading cards. It did win an Annie for Best Home Video Production, and Bill Farmer was nominated for male voice acting, losing out to Tim Allen in Toy Story 2. 2 Goofy movie, that's 2 episodes in a row, 2 films in a row that lost out to Toy Story 2 in some capacity. The biggest thing for me is that, personally, it doesn't hold a candle to the original. Not even close. This drags the score down significantly. A legacy score of 4 out of 10 underscores the film's struggle to leave a meaningful or lasting impact, especially when measured against its celebrated predecessor. While there are some bright spots, like the 63% Rotten Tomatoes rating, marketing tie-ins such as the trading cards rebate offers, and nods from the Annie Awards, these achievements are modest at best. The movie's cultural footprint remains shallow, overshadowed by contemporaries like Toy Story 2, and unable to foster the same nostalgia or reverence that the original has enjoyed over time. Moreover, in the broader conversation about animated sequels and Disney's direct-to-video catalog, this entry rarely receives more than just a passing mention. Its inability to match, let alone surpass, the emotional, musical, and narrative highs of its forerunner cement its position as an enjoyable but ultimately forgettable follow-up. For many, including myself, the gap between this film and the original is wide and undeniable. This significant drop in perceived quality and influence is what pulls the legacy rating down, reflecting a sequel that's serviceable yet never iconic. A final score of 59% encapsulates the film's overall standing as a decent but unremarkable sequel. It's a movie that delivers enough entertainment, color, and heart to keep viewers engaged, yet consistently falls short of the heights set by its predecessor. While there are flashes of genuine charm and craftsmanship, the shortcomings in character development and musical memorability and lasting cultural impact ultimately weighs it down. For both longtime fans and newcomers, it remains a watchable, occasionally delightful ride, just not a particularly memorable one. I can't really justify recommending this one if you haven't seen it yet, especially when it's sitting third from bottom on the scoreboard at time of recording, only ahead of Return of Jafar and Pocahontas 2. But that is it, regardless, for this episode of The Kingdom of Isolation now, as we looked at an extremely goofy movie. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the thumbs up, and if you want to be part of the Kingdom of Isolation yourself, you can hit the subscribe button down at the bottom, click the bell, and turn on notifications so you don't miss when an episode goes live on this channel. The next episode, we're heading back under the sea with
The Little Mermaid 2, Return to the Sea.
But until then, make each moment count, and I'll see you guys next time in the Kingdom of Isolation.